Namaste and welcome, dear friends, to the third class of the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Let us begin our class with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, Beloved Gurudev, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow at thy feet. Beloved Divine Mother, with the language of my soul, I demand realization of thy presence. Thou art the essence of everything. Make me see thee in every fiber of my being, in every wisp of my thought. Mother, awaken my heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us now invoke the presence of the Gurus by singing the hymn to Brahma, followed by a chant. Let's sing to Govind and Gopal, meaning the protector of the light of the universe and our own inner light. Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Let us sit straight with an interiorized state of mind. Let us open our hearts. And with the next inhalation, let us bring our energy to the point between the eyebrows. So friends, in the last class, we did about the complicated descent of spirit into matter, that how God, the infinite spirit, comes down and becomes human consciousness. And a master explained in a very complicated way that how the characters of the story of Mahabharata actually parallel that descent of infinite consciousness into human consciousness. So there is one particular detail that I want to correct from last time. And I thank my dear friend Jayanti for pointing it out. So in the last class, I said that Ved Vyasa is the son of Satyavati and Shantanu. He is definitely the son of Satyavati, but not from Shantanu. He is the son of sage Parashar and Satyavati. So it is said that before Satyavati met Shantanu, she was a fisherwoman, and once the Rishi Parashar, he wanted to cross the river, and on her boat, she helped him to cross the river. And then Rishi Parashar found and thought that this lady was a beautiful and ideal lady to have an offspring, and therefore he requested Satyavati. But then Satyavati said that she is, an unmarried damsel, and that it will be difficult in the eyes of society to understand what is going on. But then Rishi Parashar, he said that he maintained the silence, and he said that nobody would know, but that it is important that we have a son or an offspring, because he also knew that once Ved Vyas was born, he had a particular role to play in the drama of the Mahabharata, of course. And of course, we know Ved Vyasa had a role in writing of the Vedas and the Puranas and organizing all of that. So all this drama had to be played, and it is very difficult for us to understand the stories of mythology and the complex social structures that happened, but this is how it is. So Ved Vyasa is the son of Rishi Parashar and Satyavati. And that is why once the child was born, Rishi Parashar took Ved Vyasa with him. And so if most of us who remember the story know that when Satyavati summoned Ved Vyas later, to sire the children of Ambika and Ambalika, he was dressed he was a monk, he was a mendicant. So that's because he was taken by Rishi Parashar and was raised by him. Okay, so also in the last class, we had promised that we'll be answering questions at the end of the class. But because of certain technical glitches, the class had to just end just in time, but we were not able to address those questions. So we still have those questions with us, and I would request Captain Joy to read out those questions to me, and maybe I can answer them.
Guru. There are two questions, Dr. Radhika ji, and the first one is, if one wants to progress spiritually, is it necessary to understand the complex details of the descent of spirit into the matter? This is the
Okay,
first question.
that's a very interesting question, because once we hear that, that spirit has descended via this, and there are so many layers of consciousness, and then where am I actually, and do I really need to understand this entire story? Only then will I be enlightened? The answer is not really. It's very simple, actually. Just like we use our cars every day, we just turn the key of the car. We do not have to really know how the engine is working, how it is taking up petrol, how the petrol is being turned into energy, how that energy is being converted into mechanical movement, and how the electric or electronic circuits or in the smart cars, how that thing is working. All we need to do is to turn the key. Similarly, when we use our phones, our laptops, or our TV sets, we do not need to know the cathode ray technology that is behind it, how many electrons per second are moving in the cathode ray, and then we are able to see a picture. None of this actually we have to know to be able to watch the television or to work with our phone and laptops. So similarly, We do not have to know the complex theology of the descent of spirit into the human body, but we need the key, or we need the remote, and that key and that remote has been given to us by the Guru, and that is the key of Kriya Yoga, the key or the tool of our meditative practices. If we practice all the techniques that have been given to us the way they have been given to us with regularity and sincerity, that key just turns on the switch of intuition and wisdom within us. And we do eventually. So we do not need to start with all this knowledge. We need to turn the key. And if it is God's will, He will make us understand all that we need to know. Now, similarly, when the Buddha was asked these questions as to is God eternal, or does God exist or not, he would refuse to answer certain questions. He said that how does that help to remove your sorrow? So important thing for you now is that you to understand that you are trapped, to understand that you are suffering. And the most important thing is to how do I get out of this suffering? And you already have the key to that. So just by practicing deeply and sincerely your Kriya Yoga technique or whatever meditation technique, the Guru given technique that you have, that will turn the key. It will switch on the entire spiritual system for you, and you can move towards enlightenment. Okay, I hope that answers your question. And any other question that we have?
Yeah, there's another question. Actually, there were two questions I've combined into one. And the question is, what is the metaphysical meaning of the disrobing of Draupadi, and how can Krishna protect her?
Okay, so this is also very important to understand. So we want to know that what happened in the court at the of Dhritarashtra, where Draupadi was disrobed, and why it was done, and what does it mean to us, and all. It is a very important thing. Now let us remember that our chakras are representing the Pandavas. And the chakras, when they play the game of dice, we said the game of dice is the delusion of this world. So when the chakras are engaged in playing with this world, this means that the energy from the chakras is going outwards through the nerve centers. It is going outwards into the world. Now, who is Draupadi? Draupadi represents the Kul Kundalini, which is running in the center of the astral spine. So she is that flow of energy. Now, once the chakras or the Pandavas play with the outside world, she has to be lost. So she leaks out through the chakras into the world. So the leaking out of the energy from the chakras to the outside world is the disrobing of Draupadi. So her power is decreasing because through the chakras, she is being lost into the outside world. But the moment she stays inside, that is when she is powerful. So now what she will do is she will access the point between the eyebrows where Krishna is. So where is Krishna in our body? At the Agya Chakra positive pole, at the spiritual eye. This is the point of Kutastha Chaitanya. So when the energy can call upon Krishna, means can focus here, then what will happen? She will draw in more energy from the negative pole of the Agya Chakra, and cosmic energy will keep coming inside, and therefore complete disrobing will not happen. So although energy is leaking out from the chakras, but because the Kul Kundalini is focusing here at the point between the eyebrows, cosmic energy from the medulla will keep entering and prevent her complete, a complete loss of nobility, of centeredness, or the disrobing. So we must understand this entire game, or this entire drama is actually being played within us. And therefore, all of us, the fact that we are suffering is simply because we have played the game of dice. Means we have walked towards the temptations of this world. We have liked the various colors, the music, and the drama being played out. And we have attached ourselves. So we have gone out of ourselves, desiring the things of this world. So we ourselves are disrobing the Kundalini all the time. So because we are playing the game with this world all the time. And what Krishna will do? So Krishna when you do your Kriya Yoga practice, then what will happen? The energy will be withdrawn from the outside world and it will stay centered in the spine. And then the flow of Kundalini or Draupadi will be like the Ganga, which will go straight up the spine to the brain, and there it can lead you to enlightenment. So a disrobing of Draupadi is also within us, and coming back to her nobility is also within us. Another question that arises is why, what is that play of where how come Duryodhan and Dushasan are disrobing her? So desire, we said Duryodhan represents material desire. So, and every time the desire is frustrated, we are angry, and that is represented by Dushasana. So every time there is desire or anger, there is huge loss of the energy, which should be centered in the spine, but through the chakras, it goes into the outside world. And therefore, this Duryodhan, desire, and Dushasan, anger, who are responsible. But don't forget that the Pandavas have also played the game of dice. So all of this combination is responsible for the disrobing of Draupadi, and eventually, because she has been disrobed, means our energy has been lost and committed into the world. The soul has to fight back. The war of Kurukshetra has to be fought, and each soul has to therefore, by the practice of self-control, bring in all that energy and go back to Krishna. I hope that answers your question. And if there's any other question, good. Otherwise, we move on to our study today.
Yeah, as of now, no questions.
Okay, thank you, Captain Joy. Okay, so we now move on with the study of the Gita, and today we're going to be starting with chapter 1. So the chapter 1 is, Master has labeled it as the despondency of Arjuna. And what is the significance of chapter 1? So Master says that it sets the ball rolling, in the sense it gives a backdrop to the battle that is going to happen in the future, and as the book goes on. It also gives a backdrop to the teaching that Krishna is going to give to Arjuna. So basically, it's a foundation is being laid with this chapter. Some spiritual truths are being revealed to us, and it is also revealing all the spiritual struggles that each devotee and disciple has to undergo as we are moving towards Kaivalya. Okay, so let's begin with the first verse. Chapter 1, verse 1. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmashetre Kurukshetre Samvetayuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Kuruvat Sanjaya. धृतराष्ट्र ने कहा, हे संजय, धर्म भूमि कुरुक्षेत्र में युद्ध की इच्छा से मेरे और पांडु के पुत्र जब एकत्र हुए थे तो उन्होंने क्या किया? Dhritarashtra said, on the holy plain of Kurukshetra, when my offsprings and the sons of Pandu had gathered together, eager for battle, what did they, O Sanjay? So there are many things that we need to discuss here, of course. So Master says this inquiry is not just a simple inquiry of Dhritarashtra from Sanjay. It represents the metaphorical inquiry that every devotee, every seeker has to ask by honest introspection into his own being as to what are the armies fighting and which army is winning. Is it the army of self-control which is winning, or is it the army of sense indulgence which is winning? Is it soul consciousness which is winning, or is it ego consciousness which is winning? On our daily activity, we have to ask, is our energy going up or is our energy going down? Are we involved in spiritual activities, or are we just busy with mundane activities of this world? So this war is going within us, and each aspirant must ask this very, very important question. And competing on these fields, let us remember the main characters here. Of course, the Pandavas and the Kauravas are there, but Their fathers are Pandu and Dhritarashtra. So discriminating intelligence will take us towards the soul, and blind sense mind will take us towards the world, or towards will make us earthbound. Then Master goes on to explain that how our bodily vehicle can be compared to a chariot. So he says, our body is a chariot. The charioteer is intelligence or pure buddhi. The reins that are being held by the charioteer, that is the mind, and the horses are the senses. So now the mind is tied on the one end to the horses, means to the senses, and on the other end to the charioteer, which is the intelligence. So in ourselves also we can understand this, that the senses will relay some data to the mind. The mind will offer it to the intelligence for analysis. The intelligence will then make a perception and an intelligent conclusion, and then it will relay through the mind to the sense organs or the organs of action as to be what action is to be done. So there are many scriptures in many Upanishads also which compare the body with a chariot. And if you were also to, in sometimes in meditation or after meditation, just sit and understand that how this bodily vehicle can actually be, compared with a chariot, and what does it really mean to us? Okay. So let us say, if the charioteer does not exercise any control on the reins, then what will happen? Then the horses will go in their own direction. They will do what they have to do, right? And they will be ruled by likes and dislikes. They will be ruled by, not knowing what is true, not knowing what is right. But if the charioteer takes charge of the chariot, he knows that he is responsible, and he knows that he can control the horses by controlling the reins. Then he will exercise his control over his mind and his sense organs. Okay. Now comes the significance of Sanjay. Who is Sanjaya? So Sanjaya means one who is victorious over his own self. One who has risen above likes and dislikes. One who can be impartial and can see the situation from a bird's eye view impartially. And that is represented by, it is represented by our pure, intelligent, intuitive perception. And in the story, it represents, so Ved Vyasa has given Sanjay the divine sight, as in means he can see from a distance as to what is happening. That is in the form of a story. But in us, it is our own intuition which can see impartially that which side is winning, where are the armies, which habit or which tendency belongs to which side, and then how they are placed and how the battle can be won. Okay. Another important aspect of this verse is that it is given in retrospective narration, meaning, so Dhritarashtra is not asking Sanjay as what are the sons of Pandu and my sons doing? The question is, what did they? So in past tense, this is being asked. And this goes out clearly to show that this is not just a historical battle that is being talked about that happened 1,000 years ago. That what is being talked about is a universal battle, is a cosmic battle, which goes on in every individual. And again, we come to the point where each seeker or each individual, each devotee will have to look inside himself and see the placement of the armies and see how the battle is going to be fought and won. And all the time, the armies are going to be there, which of course we know good is there, evil is there. Then by a fight between spirit and matter will be there, between soul and body will be there, life and death, knowledge and ignorance, health and disease, changelessness versus transitoriness, self-control versus temptation. So all of this is going to fight within us. So where is the battlefield actually? What is the battlefield that where is the fight happening? The fight is happening in our own self, means at the level of the body, it is happening at the level of the mind, it is happening metaphorically at the level of the astral spine, where the currents are going up and down. So whatever good thought or good action we do, the kundalini rises up, the energy goes up towards the Agya chakra. And whenever we think a bad thought, whenever we do an action which is not in sync or harmony with the universal plan, then our energy goes downwards towards the lower chakras. Then we become more and more earthbound. So we must remember that this battle is happening within us all the time. And this battle is no simple battle. It starts from the moment of conception to our last breath. So Master is very particular in saying not that it starts from our first breath. He's saying it starts from the moment of conception. So he says that when the ovum and sperm are they meet, when they are united, then there is a flash in the astral world, and the flash of light has a certain intelligent karmic blueprint. And all those souls which have a matching karmic blueprint, who are in the astral world waiting to enter the physical reality, all of them will vie for that, to enter into that united sperm and ovum, into that one zygote, not even before the zygote, that one cell that is formed by fusion. So the fight begins, the battle begins, pre-conception or at conception, as you can say. And then once the soul has entered into the united sperm and ovum, and the body of the sperm and ovum, now it starts to grow into a human form. Then again, in the womb life also, the baby has a problem. Why? Because of the darkness, because there may be certain diseases, because there may be certain environmental vibrations coming through the mother, and because, of course, it has its own karmic pattern which comes from behind, and also because it may feel the loss of the freedom that it had in the astral world. So because of all of these factors, the child in the womb may have suffering. Thankfully, we do not remember that suffering, but not so thankfully, I would say, if we had remembered that suffering to some extent, then our fight to get out would have been faster. But it is what it is. We are not made to remember all of that. And but saints do remember the continuity of consciousness, but most of us don't. Then the birthing process itself is supposed to be a point of suffering and painful. And thankfully, we don't remember that too, the exact the pain that the fetus goes as it is delivered. And then that is also painful. Now, when the soul comes into its infant years, it suffers because it is unable to express itself from the limited body of the infant. There is a problem with language, there is a problem with the limited size of the body, there is a problem with lack of movement, lack of expression. So all that the child can do is cry whenever he or she wants to say anything. That's the only way to express itself. And therefore, it feels tied down, and it is like a battle. For a soul that has lived in the astral world with freedom and no limitation, this is a very limited existence. Now, as the child grows older, then the battle comes when the child wants to play endlessly and aimlessly. But on the other hand, the society is saying, okay, now you must get into your study. You should have a disciplined life. You should follow a particular routine. So again, that battle begins when even in very early in childhood, especially in our country, we know how things are in our education system. So that battle comes in very quickly. Now, as the child starts to grow and becomes a teenager, and hormonal changes happen in the body, then suddenly there is an explosion of karmic bombs, in the sense the child is not prepared to manage temptations. Suddenly, the child becomes susceptible to falling for temptations. There is greed, there is sex drive, there is inability to know that that money should be managed dharmically and handled and dharmically. The child has no idea, is unprepared, and he or she is assaulted by so many temptations, and there is so much battle there that is happening. Now, as the teenager then slowly becomes the adult, of course, we know that there's so many influences happening side by side. So for example, always the body is fighting against germs. So body, that thing is happening from infancy to the end of life. That battle is always happening, that our immune cells or the cells of our body are fighting against bacteria and viruses. So that battle at the background is always happening. So now in the adult, the psychological conflict for health, prosperity, self-control, and wisdom has to be started anew every day. Now, so one day, suppose we have, fought, we have controlled our senses and we have resisted temptation, and, we have worked with wisdom. But when the new day comes and a new temptation comes, we might slip, we might fall again. So every day is a battle. Every day you have to summon all your good powers, all your good habits, all your positive tendencies. You have to summon all of that every day and fight the battle every day. Okay. And Master says that you have to reclaim inch by inch the lost soul consciousness, which you have lost to temptations and to desires. So it's not easily defeated. Inch by inch, your territory has to be fought back. Now, remember the story in the Mahabharata where Krishna pleads the case of the Pandavas and requests Duryodhana to just give 5 villages. And Duryodhana says no. So that means desire will not give you your territory unless you fight for it. And we'll understand slowly what that battle means. So once desire has become the king, Duryodhan is king, Duryodhan is trying to establish his kingdom, then it will not part with any peace. It will not give you any happiness. And you will have to fight your way back inch by inch. The yogi or the awakening man is confronted by not only the external battles, but the internal battles. Of course, at a psychological level, he is always fighting. At the energy level, he's fighting between rising energy, lowering energy, restlessness of mind. On the one hand, he wants to calm his mind. But on the other hand, the mind is misbehaving and is going out of control. So all of that battle is happening all the time. So Master says, this stanza, it offers us, it points to us the necessity of man for nightly introspection, that he may clearly discern which force, the good or the evil, has won the daily battle. So that means just as we fight each day, at the end of each day, each one of us should retrospectively introspect and see what we did in the day. How were our attitudes? What was our behavior? When a particular challenge came, did we become irritable? Did we lose our patience? Did we get angry? Or were we able to maintain our calm? Were we able to love and forgive others? Were we able to maintain our level of happiness and joy, even-mindedness, under all circumstances or not? So every day we can introspect and ask ourselves, where are we standing? What is it that we need to change? What is it that we need to improve? What do we need to strengthen in our army? And what has to be defeated in our army? And so therefore, the next day, learning those lessons every day, the next day, maybe we can be more kind, more joyful, more peaceful, more calm, more, having inner strength, and not allowing the Draupadi or the Kundalini in us to get disrobed. So we call upon Krishna every day of our life. Okay. To live in harmony with God's plan, man must ask himself the pertinent question. Gathered together on the sacred bodily tract, the field of good and evil actions, what did my opposing tendencies do? Come now, tell me, what did they do? The master has put it in beautiful language, and he says, actually, you coax yourself and ask yourself. So your subconscious mind is so smart. It tries to be smart, actually, but it stores all the data. And so the conscious mind actually dips into the subconscious and says, okay, tell me how did you behave? Okay, tell me what is it that you're hiding? Let me see it. Let me see you in, in full clarity. So unless the conscious mind consciously with alertness does not inquire into its own actions, they are all those actions, their results and the attitudes, they are just swept under the carpet. You think because you don't see them, therefore they are not there. But no, they are very much there. They are going to show their heads sooner or later. The carpet is going to, be so overloaded, it's going to burst one day. The volcano will burst one day. So therefore, the seeker will, he will fight the daily battle, and he will introspect daily and make sure that he is victorious the next day. Whatever he has lost, he has to win the next day. Symbolically, the kingdom of body and mind rightfully belong to the king's soul and his noble subjects of virtuous tendencies, or the Pandavas. But King Ego and his kinsmen of wicked, ignoble tendencies, that is the Kauravas, cunningly usurp the throne. When King Soul arises to reclaim the territory, the body and mind become the battleground. How King Soul rules over his bodily kingdom, loses and then regains it, is the essence of the Gita. Okay. So now Master goes on to explain the bodily kingdom. So how is this, what is the organization, where is the soul, where is the Kurukshetra, and how are the armies placed? So a little more elaborate discussion on that. He says the organization of man's body and mind reveal its detailed perfection and reveals that it is part of the divine plan. The soul makes its entry, he says. So he says when the soul makes its entry into the ovum and sperm union, then its seat of the soul is in the medulla. Its original seat of life. So not seat of the soul, but the original seat of life is in the medulla. In this seat of life is the first expression of the incarnate soul's fine perceptions, which are imprinted with karmically designed pattern of the various phases of life to come. So the blueprint of what is going to happen in the life of this person is actually imprinted in the seat of life. So in the medullary area, and of course from the medulla, the energy will descend through the chakras and get locked at the base of the spine. And the entire chakras will also then divide that blueprint of the karma and will behave accordingly, unless, of course, the seeker fights the battle of Kurukshetra to win again. So when the soul enters the primal cell of life, it wears two bodies. So two bodies the soul is wearing. One is the causal and then is the astral. And of course, after the astral, the physical is being formed. So it has the physical, while the physical is being formed from the one life cell, inside it are the causal bodies and the astral bodies. Now, the causal body is called causal because it is the cause of the other two bodies. And it is said the causal body is made of 35 ideas, also explained to us by Sri Yukteswarji in the Holy Science. Out of those 35 ideas, 19 elements belong to the astral body and 16 belong to the physical body. So we have already studied this in the Holy Science. The 19 elements are the 5 powers of the sense, the 5 powers of action, the 5 pranas, and then the 4 aspects of mind, that is man, buddhi, ahamkar, chitta. Now, these 19 are of the astral body. So when I say the power of the senses, so the physical body has the sense organ of the eye, but the power of sight that the eye has belongs to the astral body. And so therefore, these are subtler than the sense organs. So the astral body has the power which makes the physical eye be able to see. Okay, so we have to understand it, that it's the astral body is the Sukshma Sharira in subtle form, and in more powerful form, it has all the powers which are going to make the bodily system be function in this world. Okay. The centers of life and consciousness from which the powers function are called the astral brain. So the astral spine has an astral brain, which has the sat, and also the astral spine, which has the chakras. The inner chambers in the palace of the king's soul are. So Master says that this Sahasrara chakra is the seat of cosmic consciousness in the human body. The Agya Chakra positive pole is the seat of Krishna consciousness or Kutastha Chaitanya, and the medulla is the seat of super consciousness in the human body. When the soul descends into the body, it comes under the influence of Maya and Avidya. and then it is tempted by cosmic delusion, it becomes the limited ego. So from the vast infinite, an energy pattern enters and creates the physical body, and then being identified with that body, it becomes the ego and starts to think that it is this body and mind, and therefore the play and the game of the ego begins. The ego ascribes to itself all the limitations and circumscriptions of the body. Once so identified, the soul no longer experiences its omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence. So once the omniscience, having descended from cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, super consciousness, comes to human consciousness, by this time it forgets that it has the power of omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence, and it is now starts to feel identified and says, I am this body. And this is the state of most of us, of the so many billion people living on this planet. This is the state where say, I am this person, I am this body, I am this mind and personality. But what we are is, that is why the whole Bhagavad Gita has been spoken by Sri Krishna to remind us of who we are, from where we have come, and how to recognize our real essence as the soul, and then how to merge this soul back into the ocean of spirit. Now, even the Kurukshetra or Dharmashetra Kurukshetra has been divided into various places in the body, he says. And of course, as creation comes in, the play of the gunas start to happen. There is sattva, there is rajas, and there is tamas. So the first portion of the bodily field, or the fight that is happening, is the surface of the body. So what do you mean when we say surface of the body? Means the sense organs like touch, like smell, like taste, these are happening, all these things are happening at the surface of the body. So first level of battle is here. Then as we go in, the cerebrospinal axis, means the astral spine where the chakras are present, that is the second level of the battle that is happening, and it is in the chakras where whether energy is going up or whether it is down, and that will depend on our control of the senses or no control over the senses. So that battle will go on in the spine, and then it will come here in the towards the brain. In the brain, that is the third portion of the bodily field, and this is called Dharmashetra. So the brain is called Dharmashetra, the spine is called Dharamshetra, Kurukshetra, and the bodily surface is called Kurukshetra. It's okay to just remember it as one word, but master is master, he will explain to us in all the detail. He is not going to simplify scripture because we are unable to understand. He has still simplified it a lot, but it is up to us to kindly to increase our level of wisdom and to understand this. But again, I would say what we said initially in the class, all you need is the key. Even if you don't understand what is the difference between Dharamshetra, Kurukshetra and Kurukshetra, if you are doing the job that you have been given, that means of meditation, of regular practice, of devotion, then it is going to work for you. Okay? Right. So we continue. All right. So now Master explains that what happens when the soul is ruling. So when the soul has descended into the bodily apparatus. Now, if pure intelligence rules the kingdom of this body and mind, then what will happen? He says, during the rule of King Soul, all laws regarding health, mental efficiency, and spiritual education of thoughts, will, feelings, and intelligent cellular inhabitants are carried on under the supreme guidance of wisdom. As a result, so if your soul or your intelligence is ruling, then you will get happiness, health, prosperity, peace, discrimination, efficiency, and intuitive guidance. These will pervade your bodily kingdom, and there will be a pure realm of light and bliss. But sadly, King Ego. So instead of King Soul, we have the King Ego which takes over. And what happens then? The King Ego is a dictator. ego's ministers are. So the king has to have certain ministries and has to have a parliament and so on. So who are the ministers of king ego? These are material desires, emotions, habit patterns, undisciplined sense inclinations, and they are working under the prime minister, who is ignorance. So when we are being ruled by ignorance, then how can there be peace in the bodily kingdom? The citizenry of thought, will, feelings become negative, unhappy, and the intelligent workers of cells and atomic units become disorganized, inefficient, and debilitated. So if you allow your ego to rise and play with this world, then all of this disharmony comes into the picture, and therefore you come to a state of suffering. And that was the Buddha's first noble truth, which says there is suffering in this world. And just as we have studied the descent and the game of dice, we know why that starts to happen. Under the ego regime with Prime Minister ignorance in charge, all laws are broken. That would lead to the well-being of mental and cellular citizens. So Swamiji would also say, many times that you should think of your own thoughts as your mental citizens. So just like, if you're in the corporate world, or even in you're a big CEO, or you're administrator at whatever level, and you have to hold a departmental meeting, then you call for a roundtable conference, and then 2 or 3 people will say, okay, yes, we agree with your proposal. 2 or 3 will say, no, we don't like it at all. Another 2 will say that if we do this, then such and such a thing will happen. Another 2, 3 say that we are going to rebel, we are going to walk out of the room, and so on and so forth. So a similar situation happens in each one of our minds, in our thought processes, where our own thoughts are like those mental citizens which are fighting against one another. Somebody is posing a cross, somebody is saying is rebelling, and so on and so forth. We have experienced this on a daily basis. This is no surprise to us to think that our thoughts do behave in such a way. Okay. Now Master goes to explain the habit versus discriminative free choice. So even current studies actually tell us that 85% of our daily life, we are working through the subconscious habit patterns. Only 10 to 15% of our daily life, we are using our conscious thought process, using our will. We are so bound by the subconscious. But then what does this mean at a spiritual level? Whether an action is in tune with the discriminating soul or with the deluded ego depends on the decision a man makes, consciously or unconsciously, when that action is initiated. So this is very important and practical for us. Whenever an action is initiated, whether it is out of your free choice or if it is out of a habit pattern, then a series of things will start, of course, and that karma will bear fruit. So for example, why do we say unconsciously an action is initiated? Suppose you have the habit of getting angry and irritable, and a new situation has come in front of you. And although the new situation is very neutral, but because of your habit of irritability and anger, you shout at the other person. And you may justify yourself that, oh, I was so tired. Oh, I was frustrated. I had so many things to do in my day, and so on and so forth. Although the situation did not demand your anger, but because anger is your habit, you initiated the action of speaking loudly or scolding the other person. Now the action has been initiated. Now, once it has been initiated, it is going to bring fruit. That is for sure. So whether you are performing an action at the conscious level or doing it subconsciously, the fruit is going to follow like a shadow. Therefore, we might as well do things more consciously. We might as well work more mindfully. We might as well be alert what we are doing, with what thought process we are doing, what is the intent behind that action, what is the attitude with which we are acting. All of that, the devotee must be, the yogi must be careful about these things. And Master said, not knowing the law will not protect you from the fruits of the law. Okay, you cannot say that, oh, I did not know. So you better know. That is why the Gita is there. You better know how the world works. You better know how the law of karma is working. You better know from where your happiness and your sorrow is coming from. What is the cause of your suffering? You better introspect as to how your armies are placed. Otherwise, whose loss is it? It is our loss. We will gain when we tune ourselves with the intelligence of the universe, with the plan which has been made by God. If we tune ourselves with the highest wisdom which is present already in our own soul, then we will win. That is the promise. Okay. So then Master goes on to say, actions of each human being are determined in several ways. A man may be guided by free choice or by the influence of prenatal karmic tendencies or by the suggestions of postnatal habits or by environmental vibrations. So Master is pointing out that various ways in which an action is initiated. A wicked man, an artist, a businessman, a dogmatist, an intellectual, a talkative do-nothing, a man of self-realization are all self-made. This is very important. So whatever we are today, we have made this up on our own. We have exercised our will, we have exercised a power of choice, and we have made us whatever we are today. If we don't like what we are, then who will change? We will change. How will we change? We will understand how are the armies placed? Why am I losing? I will try and understand the placement of the armies, who is on my side, who is on the opposite side. Then I will call upon the help of Krishna. Then I will, with open, intuitive, impartial introspection, I will analyze my day. I will analyze my own thoughts. I will analyze my tendencies. And there, with the help of Krishna, I will start to do the right thing. The journey of a million or 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So first we start to understand, and we may suddenly recognize in ourselves that, oh my God, I have so many problems. I have these bad habits. I have those bad habits. It's impossible for me to know that I am the soul. It may appear like that. You anyway have to fight the battle. So might as well take the first step. And interestingly, if we take the first step with some back-end knowledge of realizing that actually we are the soul always. So all the scriptural knowledge, all this will help you to understand that you are always the soul and only temporarily playing this role that you are playing. That helps you to win the battle very quickly. So don't think it is an impassable battle. But am I saying it is easy? Not at all. This battle is not easy. But is it possible to win? Yes, very much it is possible to win. And with the help of Krishna or God consciousness within us, with the help of the Guru who has given us the keys to the kingdom, we're doing that and persisting each day. As Master says, this battle has to be fought anew every day of our life till the last breath. This battle has to be fought. Those who persevere till the end will be given place as has been promised by the scriptures. They will be either set free into the cosmic existence, consciousness, bliss, or they will have better lifetimes where they can work towards this Sachidananda. So in either case, the battle has to be fought, the battle has to be won. Then why not now? Why do we want to postpone this? Do we always want to stay in a comfort zone? Do we always think that good is pleasing and comfortable? That I should not make my life uncomfortable at all? No, it is a battle. So if there is some discomfort coming to you, but it is providing you an opportunity to learn, to grow, to raise your energy, to exercise your free will, then you must do that. Do not look for an easy life, because the battle anyway is going to be fought. You have to win it someday, sooner or later. Why not now? So we start fighting the battle now itself. From today, each night, we will introspect into our behavior, our attitude, and our tendencies, and how we have spent our life this day. Because the next day is like a new birth. Lahiri Master said, every new breath is a new birth. So think, when you wake up in the morning, say, okay, this is my new birth, a blessing to me. Now let me use my free choice correctly. Let me be very alert of what I'm thinking or on what I'm doing. And let me work in harmony with the highest principles. Let me use the principle of even-mindedness, cheerfulness, of loving, of forgiving in everything that I do. If I do this, if I pray to the Lord to help me, if I use the Guru given techniques, then at this day of my life, I will win the battle. And then at the end of that day, again, introspect how you can win it in a better way. And so on and so forth. The life will come each day and therefore continue each day. Now, there will be days when you don't even want to analyze. Say, aha, I don't even want to look back. But do those days help? Ask yourself. It's just a waste, basically. So all life will pass. And some saints have said that any day or any time that you are not using to think of the highest truth is a waste. So we may, yes, sometimes be very casual that it's okay, we'll see, we'll think about it later. I don't have the energy to think. So some days is actually, ideally speaking, not okay, but at least keep going in that direction. So have your direction and your goals set and keep moving in that direction, whether it is slowly or fast. Try to be a horse race rather than a tortoise, as Master said. But of course, life is like that. There will be days the body is unwell, there is a tragedy in the family, there is some difficulty where you cannot do what is ideally expected of you, but you are God's child. God knows that. As long as you are trying, as long as you are making the effort, God will never let us down. Just as parents don't let their children down if they see that the child is trying his or her best, same. God is our friend, God is our parent, He will take care of us. Okay? With that thought, we shall end today's class and we shall mentally offer our life, our day, our daily battles to Krishna, and we will mentally ask him to be our savior, to be our guide in this battlefield, and to help us to be victorious in all the big and small battles of life. With love, with surrender, with free choice, and with will, let us choose Krishna. Let us choose God consciousness. Let us choose truth and spirit every day of our life. Let us share the power and blessings of these teachings with souls everywhere. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing power in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, dear Lord Krishna, may thy love shine forever on this sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.